This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
This podcast is sponsored by IQ Bar. Your favorite clean, functional, delicious nutrition brand is raising the bar with a little help from Thomas Keller, Michelin star chef of the French Laundry. IQ Bar and Thomas Keller have teamed up to create a salted caramel chip protein bar and yuzu mango hydration mix. With toasted macadamia nuts, rich caramel flavor, and brain-boosting nutrients, this bar is like having a Michelin star meal in your pocket. Pair it with the taste bud tingling yuzu mango IQ Mix hydration mix, packed with magnesium and adaptogens to improve clarity and mood. With Keller's culinary excellence and IQ Bar's commitment to great taste and clean ingredients, this limited edition collaboration is simply mwah. And the best part is that 10% of sales go directly to Chef Keller's nonprofit, Mentor, that supports aspiring young chefs. Great taste, great nutrition, great mission. Go to iqbar.com today and enter promo code Keller20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. That's iqbar.com, promo code Keller20.
This is your salute to Major League Baseball leader, Fan Radio Network,
Believe.
and KFAN.com. 1 minute and 57 seconds past the hour of 3 o'clock Central Daylight Time. Welcome back. It is a Tuesday production of the Bumper to Bumper program on a pretty warm mid-July afternoon here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Guardsy produces the show. My name is Dan Barreiro. We will be with you until 6:30 tonight. Ben Gessling, Friday regular, is slated to join us at about 5:30 today to catch up on some Viking stuff. And in addition, we'll play the Dr. Dan's Inbox game. That will be 4:30 this afternoon. That means you still have time to email GuardsieJG at KFAN.com if you'd like to try to contribute to play the game. That's where we are from a guest standpoint, bit standpoint. News on the March now becoming a regular component of the program is slated. I don't have a time for it yet, but that will be a part of the discussion. We've got a follow-up story to get to. Anytime I can have an excuse to use the follow-up sounder, I love it. It's one of my favorite sounders, and it is past the test of time. Speaking of bits, we are getting perilously close to the Great Minnesota Get-Together. So, as usual, we're kind of behind the eight ball on shirt ideas. If you have some for the program, please do not hesitate to pass them along to Guardsy, JG@KFAN.com, or to me, or to the Bradshaw and Bryan KFAN text line, because over the years, quite frankly, the listeners have sometimes done a better job than we have of coming up with ideas. So
they remember all of our great bits.
They do, and
our brilliant bits.
Well, better than we. They're all brilliant, of course. Whatever they are, they remember them. I tend to forget them almost as soon as we've done them. Or, oh yeah, I forgot about that. We haven't done that in years. So if anything comes to mind, especially of a more timely nature, you know how to reach us. And we will definitely take your ideas, at the very least, under some kind of consideration. Bradshaw and Bryan KFAN text line is open at 64686. Major League Baseball on this program has been a whipping boy for many, many years for a number of reasons. They go all the way back to the sort of the direction the game seemed to be going, particularly as it pertained to length of games, which for many years was, what do they say, trending in the wrong direction. Now, significant improvements have been made there, I think it's fair to say. All of the changes regarding a shot clock have, I think, worked better than baseball could have hoped. I don't even know what the average game is, but it definitely is better than it's been. And I think it's just brought a little bit more order to a game in which no longer could you trust the players to police themselves. If the players had been better about policing themselves, then I think we all agree part of the charm of Major League Baseball was there was no shot clock. Right? It's not supposed to be played against the clock. It's supposed to meander to a degree. But the players went to hell with that joke, especially the hitters and the pitchers to a large extent. So baseball, I think, finally and rightly stepped in and said, we can't wait for you guys to police yourselves anymore. We're going to the shot clock. And it has, I think, worked pretty effectively. Now, there are other problems that the game continues to have, not the least of which is the disparity on contracts because there is no salary cap. There's an interesting follow-up to get to there later in today's show, if we have time as well, a subject we explored, I think, late last week. But I have to say, as someone who is kind of bored with all All-Star weekends, All-Star, festivities from start to finish, there is one aspect of the home run derby that is worth noting. And more than us noting it, it'd be helpful if the National Basketball Association would note it. Because the harsh reality is the folks who run the NBA need to pay attention to not the way the home run derby was conducted, because there's no translation there necessarily, but who participated. Go down the list, even if you're not a hardcore ball guy. You know what stands out about the home run derby participants? They're real ball players. They are, in many cases, star baseball players. Now, there have been some star players who have not ever performed in home run derby. I don't think Mike Trout's ever been a part of it. But if you go through the list yesterday, I have it here in front of me, I think, somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Cal Raleigh, O'Neal Cruz, James Wood, Byron Buxton, who made it to the semis and then faded, Matt Olson, Junior Caminero, Brent Rooker, and Jazz Chisholm. You know what they have in common? They're good to very good baseball players. They are names that baseball fans are somewhat, at least, familiar with. And what's the moral of that story for the NBA? Nobody's ever heard of the slam dunk participants. Or they've only heard of them because, oh yeah, that's the slam dunk guy. And we, again, once upon a time, it was no big deal. It was considered obvious that the best players, the best dunkers, who also happen to be some of the best players in the league, would participate in the slam dunk competition. They did that. Didn't Michael Jordan participate in it?
A lot, I feel like. Yeah.
Clyde Drexler. Go down Dominique Wilkins. Go down the list. So again, I'm not saying I was epoxied to anything that's All-Star related, including the home run derby, although I do think they've done a much better job of tightening up the format. I felt like for some years it went on had 9 rounds, and you couldn't even understand how you advanced, and it was ponderous, it was laborious, it was longer than a Wagnerian opera.
I liked the clock.
The clock was good.
Yeah.
It all moved quicker. It went from, all right, we got our participants. We're gonna then the top 4 will advance. And then the way we're going to do it the next round is 2 against each other. The 2 groups of 2 pitted against each other. And then the winners of those 2 little battles then will participate for the championship. Much simpler, I think, much better in that regard. But again, it's still it's still an exhibition. It's still, for some people, it can get rather boring and it's predictable. What do we see? The announcers have to come up with puns on, there goes another cruise missile. They got them all written out ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then you got to have the obligatory shots of utter amazement on the faces of other players.
Right.
We're going, oh my God, did you see that?
With their kids running around them.
Correct.
Yep, hats backwards.
And then you got the crowd shots of people, oh my God, I've never seen anything quite like it. It's all kind of cliched. But at least the players are recognizable. And I would say that's a good thing. Now, I don't know how long that's going to last, and I don't know what baseball had to do to get that done. I think, in fact, at least 1 or 2 participants had to bow out because of injury. Yeah. But still, the list is legit.
Well, isn't it basically you just have to be an all-star? I mean, all those guys are all-stars,
correct.
right?
Yes.
That's the problem with the NBA. They open it up to everybody.
Correct.
Say, if you want to come to Cleveland in the middle of February, come do the 3-point contest, go ahead and do it. Baseball, it's like, no, it's actually our people. The ones that were voted here or earned their spot. They're going to get the spot. It's great. I agree.
It makes all the difference in the world. Because people always talk about, well, is the slam dunk contest savable? I don't care if it gets saved or not, but your only chance to save it is to have basketball players participate in it. Not gymnasts, not just acrobats, but people who play. And as you say, best case scenario, they also happen to be all-stars, which makes it even easier, one could say. Who won it? Was it Cal Raleigh? I think he won it. He 38 home runs. He's first in Major League Baseball in home runs. The list all through, these are all players, like you said, either all-star or just extremely good to great baseball players. So do we know why? I mean, because presumably, well, I guess in basketball, it's what? Fear of injury when you're doing the slam dunks, because there's more, obviously, acrobatic movement involved. In baseball and the home run derby, you're getting up to the plate and you're just trying to crush the ball, right? Chances are
right.
It's less likely that you're going to find a way to get hurt. But how many people have actually gotten hurt in a slam dunk competition?
I don't remember any.
Because I don't either.
No, I don't remember anybody where they missed some time.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's what that's the one thing that struck me was when every year around NBA All-Star time, it's like, okay, is it worth saving the slam dunk competition? And it's a Rubik's Cube mystery. And you have one chance to save it if it's even worth saving at all, and that's to have performers that people know. Because I'll argue, because I know you could make the argument that some of the people who participate are actually better at it than some of the best players. And there can be some movement that you go, my God, that's pretty creative. I just don't think people care. The casual fan, though, still is not going to care if they can't recognize that player as a player, right? So I'd rather have, even if it means the dunking isn't quite as dramatic, I'd rather have players that we could recognize. And yesterday, you could recognize all these baseball players.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
It was fun.
It's something a little bit better.
It was fun when Vince Carter won the dunk contest. I'm trying to think of some other famous ones.
Who is it? Have G Leaguers won it the last couple of years?
Very possibly. I don't even know who's won them.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You couldn't remember, but why would anyone remember?
Right. We remember Carl winning the 3-point contest because he was Carl. But it's hard to keep track. And that's been going on for a while. I mean, Cedric Sabalas, D. Brown, Harold Miner. I'm just thinking, I can remember all the ones from the 90s because that was the height of my rubidity. But very rarely after kind of the late 80s were the big-time stars in it more often than a handful of years. So it's
I'm going to give you the names of the here's the names of the most recent slam dunk winners. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Mac McClung.
Yeah, he became kind of a legend.
Mac McClung and Mac McClung.
Yeah.
3 straight years.
Yeah.
Obi Toppin.
Okay.
Anthony Simons.
Okay.
Derek Jones.
Who?
Hamidou Diallo.
What?
Yeah. The first recognizable name you see, I think, in a legitimate basketball way. Now, Obi Toppin has become a legitimate, bench player.
Hit 10 threes against us.
Yeah. But still, Donovan Mitchell won it in 2018.
Okay.
But even before that, Glenn Robinson III, okay, decent. Zach LaVine. LaVine had a good run with us. He won it in 16 and 15. But then let's go back to the beginning. Larry Nance won it in the first year, 1984.
Good player.
Dominique Wilkins. Spud Webb in 1986 in Dallas. I had to cover that event. Michael Jordan in 87. Michael Jordan in 88. Kenny Walker in 89. Dominique Wilkins in 90. D. Brown. Cedric Sabalos. Harold Miner. Didn't turn out to be a great player, highly regarded coming into the league.
Baby Jordan.
Isaiah Jr. J.R.J. Ryder in 94.
I was there.
Miner wanted to get in 95, Brett Berry 96, Vince Carter you mentioned in 2000, and I'm trying to figure out where it starts going pear-shaped. Somebody named Fred Jones in 2004, I don't remember.
My goodness, no.
Josh Smith, 2005. Nate Robinson, Gerald Green of the Celtics, who never became a very good player.
We had him for a minute.
And we did. Dwight Howard's in there in 2008. But it's not that difficult. And so I think that's one thing. And I don't know how consciously they did it in baseball, but as you say, maybe it's all all-star related. But it's so much better. And it does at least, even though, again, this is all exhibition nonsense, at least to me, makes it more palatable. And it is a lesson that I wish the folks at the NBA would consider. And I would actually argue if their comeback is we can't get the main players to do it, no matter how hard. I think the winner of the Home Run Derby won $1 million.
Not bad.
Now, I don't even remember, does the Slam Dunk champion win $1 million?
I don't think it's that much, but
that's good. $1 million is good money.
It should be.
So you'd think that would get people's attention. And if that doesn't do it, then to me, that's another reason. Well, let's just shut it down. Let's just not even bother with it. Bonus bucks time?
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks. It is our national cash contest on this Tuesday. Credit is the first keyword of the show. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword credit.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
This podcast is sponsored by IQ Bar. Your favorite clean, functional, delicious nutrition brand is raising the bar with a little help from Thomas Keller, Michelin star chef of the French Laundry. IQ Bar and Thomas Keller have teamed up to create a salted caramel chip protein bar and yuzu mango hydration mix. With toasted macadamia nuts, rich caramel flavor, and brain-boosting nutrients, this bar is like having a Michelin star meal in your pocket. Pair it with the taste bud tingling yuzu mango IQ Mix hydration mix, packed with magnesium and adaptogens to improve clarity and mood. With Keller's culinary excellence and IQ Bar's commitment to great taste and clean ingredients, this limited edition collaboration is simply mwah. And the best part is that 10% of sales go directly to Chef Keller's nonprofit, Mentor, that supports aspiring young chefs. Great taste, great nutrition, great mission. Go to IQBar.com today and enter promo code Keller20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. That's IQBAR.com, promo code Keller20.
The Fan.
Save the date. It's the 36th annual Polo Classic. The preeminent polo event in the Twin Cities is back Sunday, August 3rd at the Twin City Polo Club. You can get all the details at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Now, 712 guy writes, Dan, I get your point, but most of today's All-Stars would be terrible in the dunk contest. Shea, Luka, Jokic, Ant would run away with it. Let's start with getting Ant in it. And I have a hunch we could find... They don't always have to be necessarily the best of the best players, right? If that's not necessarily their cup of tea. But they have to be more than G-Leaguers. They have to be more than bench players that no one has ever really paid attention to or does pay attention to except for then. So there's definitely again, I'm not going to sit here and say I know how you force better players to get back in it. That ship may have sailed. I'm saying if it really has sailed, what happened last night kind of further intensified my feeling that if you can't kind of match what Major League Baseball did last night with an exhibition event of its own, the Home Run Derby, by putting players out there that we recognize as players, then just give up and find other things. There's other gimmicky things to do, you know. Do some version of horse or pig or whatever works for you in that regard.
And they've tried some of the skills challenge stuff.
Yes.
So I'm just looking at the All-Stars this year. Jaylen Brown wouldn't be good in the dunk contest.
Exactly. There's
Edwards,
plenty.
Darius Garland, Cade Cunningham, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jalen Williams.
There's more than enough. There are people who don't belong. Joker doesn't belong.
Right.
Shea probably doesn't belong, although we don't even know. It's possible he could do more than you think. He just doesn't seem all that inclined to it. But there's more than enough to fill it. To where, and I even, I got to the winners. If you go back in those early years, just go back to who was participating. And it was basically a who's who of legitimate players. That's the only chance that you have to get anything from it. The date today is July 15th, I think. Mm-hmm. I need some help from the audience. And I think this has been going on for a while, but I have noticed it more this year via programming, TV programming particularly, and even in some cases, radio programming. What's this Christmas in July concept? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I've heard the concept.
I'm trying to figure out what it's about. The idea that we find various ways we will put on a number of channels, there's a million cable channels. We'll put a bunch of Christmas shows on and Christmas movies on in July. So is this the 6-month mark? Is that, I don't even know.
Probably. And it's July. It's a quiet time.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of new stuff coming out.
It's got nothing. Who's thinking? I'm a holiday guy. I love the holidays. I just don't understand why this is being forced down our throats. I don't get it. It's not the holiday season. I understand that we're light and things are slow and whatever the case may be. I'm just I need some help on the inspiration here. Who thought this was a good idea? Are there actually people out there who enjoy watching Christmas movies in July?
Maybe.
When it's 95 degrees?
Maybe it's too hot for them and they want to think about simpler times.
Oh, my God.
When they get the aesthetic of the snowfall.
You're obviously not as offended by it as I am. I can't stand it. Because I just feel like it's being sort of forced down our throats, little bit like incrementally each year. More and more I'm seeing these bits and Christmas in July. We're going to. So I'll need some help from some people to help me understand what it's about. And maybe there's people out there who love it. I don't know.
Well, I will say this. I can't stand it. I don't know if any of our bosses are listening, but if they were thinking about this, maybe they could do Cool Christmas in July on Cool 108. Because we start that basically November 1st now, I think it is. Yeah, it's basically 2 months of Christmas music.
I thought it was right after the fair.
It might be. Yeah. I may have missed it, but we should probably do.
Well, we could get ahead of it.
Cool Christmas in July. Yeah. Do like a week of Christmas music. Or maybe a weekend.
It's a wonderful time of year once a year. Let's just let it come. It'll come to us. It'll get there. It's not a problem. It's not a difficulty. More bumper to bumper math is July, the 6-month mark from December. I have no idea. Is it? I have no idea.
No, it'd be June because that's the 6th month.
Big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the middle of summer.
But it seems that it's July is when this becomes the thing. And I know Hallmark Channel has been doing this forever. But even that, I'm going, and maybe it's popular. Maybe I'm the Scrooge. But I'm really not a Scrooge. I am, but I'll admit I'm Scrooge trying to manufacture a holiday motif in the middle of summer that has nothing to do with the holiday season. We got plenty of time to work up to that, gift ideas, the whole bit. To me, that would make, I would think that would make a whole lot more sense. I have a strange acquaintance, writes Paul, who loves Christmas so much that they leave their Christmas decorations inside their house year round. If they had their way, it'd always be Christmas. But then, if you play that out logically, then doesn't that take away from the specialness of it? That's the whole idea of it, As it is, we decorate too soon now. I mean, it used to be...
That's true.
Thanksgiving and forward, long time ago. That's where we're waiting. Now you have permission, I think, to start. Is it the day after Halloween or is it the day before Halloween?
I think you can do it whenever you want now.
Yeah, apparently you can.
Just get it all organized. I do like the trend, though, that now because one of the things we fight about in our house is the Christmas lights, when to put them up, and then when to take them down. This will shock you. I'm not overly inspired by doing either, because you got to get the ladder out. You got to hold the ladder. My wife goes up there.
Oh, that's not easy to do.
And it takes some time. But the lights just the LED lights that you can keep up all year round now and just change the colors.
Yes.
That's the next step in bougie that I need in my house. Yeah. Where then we just put them up and they're there forever. And
well, a lot of people do that.
They're great.
Already, yeah. And like you said, you just change the color and then you have to messing with it and cracking a rib, falling off the edge of the roof in the ice, whatever the case may be.
Right, exactly right.
Something to be said for that. We'll get to some text.
Well, Merry Christmas in July, if I've forgotten to tell you.
Thank you so much.
Larry David.
Happy holidays to you as well. It's probably, I'm guessing Larry David would agree with me on this.
He would.
And I stand proudly with Larry on that particular issue, if indeed he feels the same way. Let's come back and talk about a subject we've explored before, having to do with this maddening difficulty, it seems, to convince all the important parties to return to downtown Minneapolis. A lot has been written about this before, and now there's some new stuff. I saw it today via StarTribune.com and elsewhere. We're going to revisit that subject, and I hope get some good feedback.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
This podcast is sponsored by IQ Bar. I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ Bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
As well when we come...
Head over to the contest page, enter for your shot to win 4 tickets of early screening passes for the newest Marvel film, The Fantastic Four. First Steps. It's in theaters July 23rd. KFAN.com. Keyword contests.
Randy checks in from Richmond, Virginia, originally from St. Cloud. I'm a mail carrier. It feels like Christmas in July because we just got through Prime Week, where everyone gets Prime benefits for free. So many Amazon packages feels like Christmas. My truck was completely full this morning of Amazon packages. I had 150 of them. On a normal day, I average 50. That's a piece of this. It's always, I shouldn't say always, it's often marketing and retailing. Mike from Medina, it's retailer invention to boost slow summer sales. It's capitalism. Yeah, I'm not an anti-capitalist. I'm not obligated to like it. I'm not obligated to like the. Can we not just have the Amazon Prime stuff without? Do they link it to Christmas in July too? Is that part of their?
I don't know. I don't think it's officially part of their bit, but maybe people make the link.
Yeah. So the Amazon wins again. And the retailers win once again as well.
You know why it's also Christmas in July?
Why?
Wolves Summer League team's back in action right now. against the Pistons.
But is anybody even left to play?
Let me see.
Is Dilly playing?
Dilly's out there.
Oh, okay. So you're going to keep
Looks
using
like
him.
Clark is out there. Leonard Miller is out there. Baby Baguette, I haven't seen him yet. Oh, no, we're going to commercial.
It is interesting in terms of national buzz. The big start, and then it seems to sort of fall off of a cliff.
A little bit.
And some of that is because a lot of the best players don't play anymore, but it's almost got two sections to it. It's everybody's in on it, and then we get to this point, and you're in on it, and a couple of other people. Okay, so I'm looking at this is a Star Tribune piece laying out the importance of Tuesday after Labor Day. For the first time in at least 5 years, the Tuesday after Labor Day won't just signal back to school in the Twin Cities. It's also back to the office for thousands of white-collar workers. And for downtown Minneapolis boosters and business owners, there's no dread at seeing the end of that long summer vacation. Instead, it's all relief. And it lays out some of the signs indicating that downtown, in terms of population, not talking about people living there, but working there, hitting the streets there, seems to be heading in a better direction. Not pre-COVID level by any means, but in a better direction. Last week, they write, Target made the call to require its largest business unit to report to the office 3 days a week starting in September. The retailer downtown Minneapolis' second largest employer joined the likes of Ameriprise, the U.S. Bank, and other area employers in issuing return-to-office mandates after many had embraced remote and hybrid work since 2020. And then it goes in a lot of depth, laying out some of the changes and how people feel about them as well. And then there's another piece having to do with, in this case, some savagery that in the case of Hennepin County, that Hennepin County employs about 6,000 people in Minneapolis, and roughly 2/3 of them are classified as remote or hybrid, mostly the latter. And that in this case, in the case of Hennepin County, the requirement is you must average more than 1 day a month or 12 days a year showing up at county facilities or in the community as job duties require. And what's suggested here, and I agree totally with this writer, is it's a laughably low threshold. Now, the story indicates a belief. Looks like the county administrator David Huff is asked about that whole hybrid situation, and he's saying hybrid employees come in at least 2 or 3 days a week. In reality, those definitions are minimum, and we're doing much more than that. Do I clock check and determine who's coming through gates with their security badges? No. It's a subject that, again, we've explored over time. And again, I get it. What happened when people got used to having much more flexibility was they were able to change a lot of things about their own home schedules, how they dealt with children, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not here to lecture on any of that, but I am here to say that regardless of what people got used to, put me very much in the group that says the cold, harsh reality is if you want to give any downtown a better chance to reach some higher plane that we might have been accustomed to and take it for granted for once upon a time, people have to come back. Now, again, I don't have to make out the schedules, and I'm not here demanding it, but I'm saying you can't have it both ways. You could say you can't complain about how relatively barren at various times downtown Minneapolis still might feel, and say, but people should have every right to not go in at all because that gives them more flexibility. Something's got to give. And so the trend seems to be that companies who were becoming pretty lax on this are tightening the thing up. Now, the unknown is, like I said, Hoff can say, well, actually, they're coming in more than that minimum of 1 day a month or 12 days a year. But it sounds like Big Brother to check. But if you're not checking, how exactly do you even know? And at this point, I guess I don't understand why those minimums aren't dramatically changed, as apparently is even starting to happen, as we mentioned with Target most recently. This story indicates 3M, it's 4 days a week. State workers, it's 3 days a week. I should say, halftime is what they say. 50%,
right? Yep.
3M, 4 days, and Target is saying 3. We might need to erect a big scoreboard in the heart of downtown Minneapolis to really capture the fervor. They know I guess I should. The byline is missing on this story. I'll try to find it here during the break. In the printout, it did not appear, so I'll give the writer proper credit for this piece eventually today. It's Eric Roper. Eric Roper is who wrote it, but I think he's right. And I guess at this late date, I'm trying to figure out how people can argue with that. And I get that we have this all new vision for downtown Minneapolis in some measure because so many more people live and rent in the greater downtown area than used to, right? The downtown that I remember when I lived downtown, there weren't that many people living downtown. Now that's changed exponentially, correct? Especially in certain areas.
Yeah.
And so I understand everybody's looking at it. It's not just about filling up the office space the same way. But isn't it counterintuitive to not understand or to pretend to not understand that the greater amount of traffic you have, the better the feel, the better any particular downtown has a chance to start looking and feeling a little bit more quote unquote normal than it used to? And again, I know it can't just always be about foot traffic, so to speak, but I do think that enters into, and I think that's what also helps, sort of having people rethink their perceptions of downtown Minneapolis, right? A lot of the crime numbers, I believe, are actually improving in a lot of major cities in America, especially when it comes to murder, thankfully. But I just think this is not a Rubik's Cube, and that the people who fight back on this and resist this, and I'm not even getting into, if you want to, based on some of the business people quoted, they'll also say that they have a belief that for a lot of jobs, it is helpful to be around other people who are working in that same business, doing either similar jobs or complementary jobs, and that there is an energy that you'd like to see brought back to the workplace where you have more people actually around each other rather than more isolated, as can often be the case. On
the last part, I am completely old school on that. I do think people need to be around each other, working together, whether it's they're working on a project together, even if you're not necessarily working on anything related to anybody. I do think most businesses are kind of interconnected, so it doesn't make a ton of sense to me that, everything's fine if we just all work wherever we are and never meet and never have to be around each other. I'm very old school. Wasn't it the JP Morgan Chase CEO was a Diamond a few weeks or months ago, got in the meat grinder because he basically said, we're all coming back to work.
Yes.
Grow up. Adults go to work. This is what we're doing. Sorry, this is where our businesses are. I'm not quite that draconian, but I'm probably not too far away from him because I do think it's just not realistic to think that you're going to be as productive for the most part. There's obviously going to be outliers, but most people with all the distractions and all the different things to not actually be in the office place and just being around just the downtown area. We were downtown last night.
But I'll say again, I'll respect if people say, well, no, that's too much for me to give up. I'm not even going to yell at them anymore. But what I'm going to say is then you're going to have to live with the changes, the significant changes to the way a city like Minneapolis is perceived. And we haven't gotten to St. Paul, which is actually worse.
I think it's worse
in that regard. So, I just don't want to hear the complaining about that to go along with it. That you can, if you want to continue to do it the way it's up to the companies. Ultimately, they get to make the decision, right, on what they expect. I think they have a right to get tougher on it. I think they have every right. And what's interesting is this goes back to, I think, a little bit of leadership. Because I'm sure the tougher employers get on this, the more blowback they're getting or will get. And how much are they willing to say, too bad? We're making these decisions. This is going to be a part of the requirement for your position. And it's unfortunate that the amount of time that's taken place in between the things that you have gotten accustomed to have taken place, and this means you're going to have to readjust. But it's not our fault COVID happened, right? It's not our fault that there was at that time a belief that there was a need to make some significant changes to how we went about what we demanded from people in terms of coming into the workplace, right? I mean, yeah. Even you can say George Floyd, the whole temperature changed post George Floyd. That's not business's fault that those phenomenon took place. But the idea that then they're prisoners to what was established then makes no sense to me. I think I applaud the decisions that these companies are making, saying this is what we're going to do. Now, how much they're actually holding people accountable, that's the part I don't know. I don't know if it's just words or if because like I said, in the case, the way the Roper story is written, in the case of the Hennepin County employees, they're claiming, well, no, the minimums don't mean people are only coming in that infrequently. They're coming in more often than that, but we're not checking. So I guess how would you know? Right. Just anecdotal. Honestly, you're just looking out at the scene in front of you. I'm not exactly sure.
I do think there's a contagious nature, too, to having, if it's busier downtown and the restaurants seem busier and the skyways seem busier, I do think it does add just to the overall general vibe and feel for someone that maybe only goes there every once in a while, but says, hey, this is fun down here. I like it down here. This is good. Or you go down for a kid's field trip, yes. Whether it's, Institute of Arts just outside of downtown or Ordway's in St. Paul, but something downtown, rattling through all the kids' field trips I've been to in the last 4 years. Like, I do think it adds, if you do come down there sporadically, that there is a little bit more vibrancy and bounce, and it does feel like things are happening down here. I think that just impacts, as you said, the entire mood of everybody's feelings on the city.
There's a lot of text and a lot of pushback. I'm not surprised. There always is when we get into this particular subject. The definition of normal has changed. Why is any employer obligated to have their employees downtown if the work can get done as well and cheaper elsewhere? Well, if it can get done cheaper, they'll probably do it because that's the way companies tend to work. But what I have problems with is the definition of normal can change again. This idea that this new normal is now utterly unchangeable and unshakable, according to who? Because it works for you, maybe, or because it's convenient for you, or you've gotten used to it. I'll again say that you can stand by your principles of no, nothing should change, and I'm getting more done at home, work done at home. All I'm saying is it comes at a cost to cities. Period. Full stop. End of story. It just does. No one can logically tell me, other than if they are just so dug in on this subject that they don't want to listen to logic, that it does not have an impact on the synergy inside a city. I'm a metropolitan area guy. You're a metropolitan area guy. It has value, and at its best, it has some vibrancy as well. And there are sections of Minneapolis that have pretty good vibrancy right now, some not so much, and it's not all dependent on this, but it's absolutely part of the deal. And you can say, well, that's what the developers want to hear. I don't care. I actually don't care about the developers. They may have their own reasons for believing this. I'm saying what I remember, what I believe to be true, and what I trust in people who pay attention to these sorts of stories also indicate that it is indeed the case. So again, this idea that this is the new normal. The normal can change, just as it changed once. It can change again, and people they'll adjust. Or maybe they'll find other employment. I don't know. Now, it may well be some companies say, this ain't working. We thought we could be tough guy on this, but it's not getting us what we want to get to, whatever the case may be. But that's just part of the deal. Work from home had little to no effect on productivity. So I don't know if that is saying that the notion that people are more productive. Or I think maybe they're saying the opposite. Yes. They're saying that the productivity. I'm not talking completely about productivity, although I, like you, think for many, not all businesses, but many, the idea of people working in the same area does have its benefits. And my argument doesn't have to do with productivity, though, in all honesty. It has more to do with things that I think badly affect metropolitan centers. That to me is it has to be a big part of should be, I guess, a big part of the conversation. Let me see if I can get to a couple more texts. No need to go downtown. Well, no, there is a need to go downtown if the job requires you go downtown and you need that job. That's the answer. If the job says we want you downtown, or it doesn't even talk about downtown, in the office, then there's a need to go to the office. Simple as that. It's not that difficult to me to figure out. It's just that we've gotten accustomed to it, and as if this is now unchangeable. Well, the original change took place. There's no reason to think that another change can't take place as well. And I do find, like Roper writes, the idea of the minimum is once a week. Come on, man, don't even bother. In all seriousness, and because that's a lot of workers. It's what's the total he had here? I think it's Hennepin County employs about 600 people in Minneapolis, and roughly 2/3 of them are classified as remote or hybrid, mostly the latter. So, as he writes, I'm sure a lot of these employees are working in person more often than we test tornado sirens, but the written baseline is so low that it might as well not even exist. I think there's some truth to that, too. Bike paths are going to overflow if people go back to work full-time while we await the light rail completion in 2040. 651 guy, these people have been catered to enough. I haven't worked remotely once. They feel entitled. Get back to work. Productivity is one thing. Creating a unified soul is not done remotely. Very poetic.
I like that.
I work in an engineering department for a local company. We came back to the office late 2021. We share space with the company documentation department and are always short on space for our projects. Shortly after we returned, the documentation group decided they were only going to come to the office 2 or 3 days a week, and the engineering manager asked us if we wanted to do that too. He was very surprised when we said no. We're far more productive. Let me scroll down. We are far more productive. Where did it go here? In the office. And if the documentation team is only coming in half the days, can they coordinate their visits so they only take up half the space so we can get the space we need? Needless to say, we did not get the space. There's a mental health component here as well. We have a loneliness epidemic made worse by limiting human contact, IRL. Return to the office is a case of eating our vegetables for our own good. I think there's some truth to that, too. And again, some offices are awful, I'm sure. It's right. There's a lot of generalizing, unfortunately, that is part of this story. But I would say for those in favor, they're doing a lot of generalizing as well. That's rather convenient. Over the last 5 years, writes Jeff in Richfield, my work had us go from fully remote to hybrid, 3 days in office to fully in office. It was contentious at first, but I think it's been mostly good being back. The key is that we can still work remote as needed so long as we don't abuse it. If I have a plumber or something coming by, I just work remote and add it to the calendar as working remote. Well, that would be, you think, the sweet spot for everybody.
For sure.
If you can have that kind of flexibility, and then you have, to that extent, the best of both worlds.
And cities are important to all of us, by the way. That's the underlying part.
I think they are.
I think you definitely wanted to highlight that we pay for cities not doing well one way or the other.
100%.
So we should all be trying to figure out how to keep the cities as vibrant as we can.
Let's do this. Top of the hour pause. there's some Byron Buxton sound that's getting a lot of attention, and I want to talk about it because on the one hand, what he says, if you're a Twins fan, I think should be very encouraging. On the other, I'm wondering if there's some Twins fans who might actually be a little bit disappointed. We'll play that sound, get to that subject. Don't forget the inbox at 4:30 and
could use letters.
Gessling at 5:30. Email Guardsy, JG at KFAN.com.